his wife's parents were keeping the little boy, and they wouldn't let him take him out of town. So they had one child in California, one back there, and they were traveling back and forth, and it was a little too much for him. So
Well, it is his child. Can you take his child away?
It's not really his child. It was his wife's child by a previous marriage.
They're talking about G.G. Gambill. Elvis is explaining that he had left the entourage for family reasons. And he's talking about Gigi's parental arrangements, the fact that, there was child custody issues and all of this sort of stuff. And it sort of struck me, I could sort of see why they did it, because it says that, people in the entertainment business have the same sort of family problems and issues that everybody else does. But given that it was sort of in real time. And the film only came out a few weeks, really, or a couple of months after all this was happening. And it's obviously still very new. I mean, we can talk about it now 50 years later, and it's not going to hurt anyone, you wouldn't think. But you just wonder, given that was a very intimate, or sort of a conversation about some very intimate matters, I just wonder why that was in.
Yeah, there's a lot of questions. Yeah, so, okay, the camera's rolling. Let's get some candid shots of King interacting with his people and with his band and his singers. So, obviously, that's legit. That's what's happening here. But to zero in on that and the camera, and as we said before, Elvis is well aware he's being filmed, and everybody's aware. And it's not just for a feature film. And the conversation comes to Gigi. So I guess it's kind of on Presley, because he explains exactly where he is, leaving nothing out. Again, normal conversation questions. Well, why can't he do this? Why can't he do that? And Presley has to explain in detail about their family issues. And again, it's the times, I guess, nowadays with litigation and whatnot, that would never have made it in there. But maybe it's an indication of Elvis as being really candid. Maybe it's an indication, because I said earlier, he knows he's being filmed. So how real, how candid is he really being? Well, here he is seemingly having forgotten. You could say that Elvis must have forgotten he was being filmed because he's talking about somebody's personal life. But maybe not that. I don't think he ever forgot the camera was on him at any time in his life. But maybe it's a good indication that it's just about as real and as raw as we ever see Presley. And it is an interesting conversation because, yeah, it's about somebody's family issues. People are being named and children are not being named, but, referenced. And it's a sticky one. But it's always fascinated me since I was a kid seeing that there's this interesting custody thing going on. And we hear it, and they hear it in the theater.